A lot of people who participated in a new poll of voters do not want President Biden to seek a second term. 67% say, don't do it, Joe. More than half of Democrats say they don't want President Biden to run again. More than half of Democrats say they don't want Joe Biden to run again. Now, here's a big part of Biden's problem. Only 45% approve of his handling of the economy. 55% disapprove. President Biden himself has long insisted he intends to run. But watch him cast some doubt on that during a speech this week. 4 more years, and he says, no, I don't know about that. Power panel now. Gianno Caldwell, Fox News political analyst, is with us today. Former Democratic New York State Senator David Carlucci. Great to see you both. David, I come to you first. You know, I have heard this from Democrats. Go ahead and tell them you're going to run. It's a good idea. And now, but look at what the voters are saying. Maybe it's not a good idea. You're going to tell them that Joe Biden's going to run again. What happened?
Well, you got to have someone to beat someone. And I think if Joe Biden runs, he wins. He's proven to be a steady hand in this unprecedented time. No, I think he runs and he wins. And I think we're 2 years out or a year and a half. But I think people want someone in the middle. Joe Biden has told the left and the right in a most polite way to go jump in a lake. He's fighting for the middle, for the silent majority. And that's what America desperately wants.
He didn't tell the whole party that. He said that to the 2 people who wouldn't vote yes automatically on his big spending.
He's proven to be a shrewd politician that can get things done. He's been a true diplomat in a time where America is desperately craving that.
Okay. He is shrewd because he lied about that student loan thing. There's no way he didn't know that wasn't going to pass muster. There's no way he didn't know. And now he's saying to the rail workers, well, I couldn't get you that leave as part of this whole in the strike deal, so you got 1 day of it. I'll hit you on the backside. I'll get you more later. I mean, I guess you could call that shrewd. I don't know. I grew up where it's basically lying. But anyway, go ahead, Gianno.
Well, I agree with you, Harris. He's not only lied about that, he lied about leaving Americans behind in Afghanistan, lied about COVID, saying that it was over when you got his own health department saying you need 5 shots, 5 COVID shots. This is insanity. Democrats don't want them. Independents don't want them. And at this particular point, I think if it was to be a Republican challenge by Ron DeSantis would win because he kept Florida free. He's been an honest elected official, and he's one that the American people, I'm talking about Republicans and independents, will want to see elected. He has kept a steady focus on many issues here in Florida, and I personally would like to see him run and win.
That's interesting that you bring that up. I do want to come back to David on this, and we'll talk about that point, David. A new Marquette poll shows a virtual tie in a hypothetical 2024 matchup between President Biden and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. What do you make of it? I mean, you could see if it was somebody who'd ever put their hat in the ring before, but for all the reasons that Gianno just said, what do you make of this?
Well, I think Biden is favored. Why? Because he's been tried, tested, he's been proving results. Ron DeSantis has a long haul ahead of him. He's got Donald Trump in his way, and we've seen how nasty Trump can be to his opponents. And Donald Trump has said, look, he's going to take the gloves off and grapple with Ron DeSantis, and that's going to be a real problem. That's going to be a problem for the Republican Party. Sure, the Democrats have issues, but we can put our focus behind Joe Biden, and I think he can get the job done.
I think it's interesting.
On the rail strike. Yes, it's not perfect, but he's gotten something done.
Well, they could have done an 80-day cooling-off period, and it would have been a moot point, and then the voters wouldn't have been manipulated into thinking that it was all going to crash down. Steve Forbes just told us that. I didn't even know that. Anyway, California Governor Gavin Newsom has been leading what is reportedly the nation's largest effort to address reparations for slavery. Here's how much it could cost. The 9-member task force he formed in 2020 says 2.5 million black Californians are owed more than $223,000 apiece. That money is meant to make up for housing discrimination practices from 1933 through 1977. And it comes to an estimated $569 billion with a B dollars. That could grow when the task force hands its final report in next year. Gianno.
Yeah, I don't know of California having that kind of money. And 2, I do believe that Gavin Newsom is interested in running for president, and I think this would be him building a coalition of black voters, unfortunately on black pain, when it comes to racism, segregation, and many other issues that African Americans have faced historically. And with this, I don't think he's going to be able to pay it out because, one, we've seen these studies time and time again when it comes to Democrats, and it never amounts to anything but dredging up the past. And unfortunately, black folks continue to pay the price when it comes to Democrats.
David, is this buying black votes?
No, I don't think so. I think this is addressing the real hard issues that we have to deal with today. This is something where they've put a professional task force together to address some of the issues that have with racial wealth gap that exists right now in our country.
What if they can't pay it, as Gianna has just said? What happens?
That was the next
question.
Well,
I think it's about these are projections, these are ideas, and I think it could be a multitude of ideas, whether that's a direct payment or other types of programs that can really help.
Pay on credit for reparations?
Well, to make sure that we're addressing some of these real issues that have been controversial, have been polarizing.
David, please come back. You too, Gianna. Thank you both. Outnumbered after the break.
Look forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.